just gets me pumped up. Good morning. Is my voice too loud, Mr. Benny, producer?
You're doing just fine.
I'm so excited. I got to take a deep breath. So, of course, with all of my shows, and good morning, Benny. Good morning to everybody in the Pacific Northwest. Good morning to my international tribe on YouTube. I know I've gotten messages this morning. I've got Arizona. I have quite a few people in Arizona and Toronto, all across. Everybody's like, I want to tune in today. And I'm like, well, get your booty on over there. Get on in. Get your booty on in over there. What? Did I just come from Texas?
It depends on where you are. So you've been all over. You're kind of forgetting where you are, I guess.
I am totally forgetting where I'm at. And our guest today is going to help me out. We've got lots of juicy conversations today. I am so excited. It's been a while since I've had a live show. We've had some snafus with some guests and time zones and stuff. So this is just a great blessing to be live again. And I'm back in Bend for a short little regroup, and then I'm back on the road again. So I am super excited and really thankful that Judy's joining us today. So before I do her formal introduction, but I want to remind everybody to find all the information about me, my guests, what I teach, when I teach it. If you want to host an event in your country, in your state, all you got to do is just email Sue at claritywithsue.com. You can go to the website. Make it easy, claritywithsue.com. If you want a copy of the show and the show notes and all the goodies, go to claritywithsue.com and sign up for the newsletter. It's called Love Bumps because I want to love on you. And that's the newsletter. So if you see something coming through says Love Bumps from Clarity with Sue, you know it's the newsletter because I just want to love on you. Benny, what are you doing? You're just going to leave it alone, aren't you?
I thought of Love Bumps and went somewhere else. Good. So basically, we're saying it's safe to open. Is what you're saying.
Totally safe to open.
Right.
Totally. Yes. Yes. Okay, so let's get to our guest, you guys. Judy Wilkins Smith is a highly regarded organizational, individual, and family patterns expert, a systematic executive coach, trainer, facilitator, thought partner, and leadership conference and motivational speaker. She has 18 years of experience in assisting high-performance individuals, Fortune 500 executives, and legacy families to end limiting cycles and reframe challenges into lasting breakthroughs and peak performance. And let me say, Judy is also very passionate about visionary leadership, positive, accelerated global change. Judy uses her ability to understand critical dynamics in personal and organizational systems and the points in which they intersect to create growth and success. I could keep going and going and going, and there's a big old drum roll, Judy, but welcome, sweetheart. I'm so thankful to have you.
Thank you. It's lovely to be with you. And yes, I am from Texas, where you, yep.
I was just there, San Antonio board. I drove I swore I would never drive across Texas. Woo. Guess what I did? A lot of land.
It is a lot of land. It is a big state.
It is beautiful, beautiful country, beautiful people. I was really impressed with the culture and the people there. They were just so genuine and kind, at least the ones that I was interacting with. And could be a mirror too, right? Because that's how I show up. We can have that conversation.
Of course, but
right?
Yeah, they're pretty friendly.
Yes. Yeah, I went from San Antonio up to San Angelo, up in the middle, and then just kept going. Yeah, it was beautiful. San Angelo was actually one of my favorite stops because the people were just so beautiful. It was amazing. All right, enough about my trip in Texas. Let's break this down. I mean, I did the formal bio. Let's get to know Judy, the why, and I want to break down the conversation about decoding and the emotional blueprint. Let's really dissect that so the audience understands, what we're talking about.
Sure. So decoding your emotional blueprint. I wrote the book. Well, people kept saying, write the book, and eventually it happened. But the whole premise of it is this. You don't just inherit your physical DNA, you also inherit your emotional DNA. Now, most of us have a clue that that's going on, but we don't realize how important it is. If you look at ancestry, there are more than 100 million trees or ancestry trees on places like ancestry.com. So people know there's something important. And they get, if you look at them, they're sort of moved by the way that they connect, but they don't realize that there's more to it than that. The events in the system, the patterns of thoughts, feelings, actions are all there as clues to the life. You spoke about living your best life and the life you want to live. That's what this is. And the other thing that's super important to know is there's no such thing as a train wreck. It doesn't matter where you are in your life right now. It doesn't matter what your life looks like. It is usually a pattern that's trying to stop and one that's going, hey, wake up, I'm trying to emerge through you. So you've got the two sitting next to each other. And once you can decode that and decode your emotional blueprint, which is that inheritance of your patterns of thoughts, feelings, actions, you begin to discover that life isn't as simple as you think. It is a big adventure waiting for you to participate. That's what it's about.
You have, yeah.
Yes, sitting on a sunbeam and meditating on a lily is lovely, but unless you're doing something after that or with that, you're still going to be sitting there.
Oh, I know. I love it. Okay. So Judy, I have a personal question and I want to dive into this because I think it's going to give a really good insight to what we're speaking to and what you educate and teach. So we talk about the emotional blueprint and the genes that come through. So I am a product of an adoption. So when I go and look through and I didn't know where it came from. I mean, I knew where it was born and all of that. However, somebody's always named me, somebody's always put me someplace, because of this adoption thing. And then of course I had the emotional aspect of being rejected and that type of environment, which working through and getting over that, but it has shown up so much in my life and learning from those experiences. But I want to go back to the decoding. And I know a lot of people, and in fact, I know some families that, have a lot of adopted children. So I would like to have that kind of conversation. Sure. Can we do that? Okay.
Well, absolutely. Because here's the thing, my daughter's adopted. So it's near and dear to my heart.
Of course.
Yeah. So the thing about that is you weren't rejected. If you were rejected, you wouldn't have even been born.
Yep.
You wouldn't have. What happened was you were given a chance. Not in the way that most of us kind of envisage the chance, but then that's where I think sometimes the universe is elegant. What I've noticed, or what we notice in this work with adoptees, is you may have two polar opposites. Not always, you can have a middle, but you tend to have a high performer or a very low performer. The high performers in a sentence is often something along the lines of, I will do anything to belong. And so they excel, they do all the things. They're also very good at creating communities because they know what it's like to feel like I don't know where I belong. So they create a space for everybody to belong. Yeah.
That's me right there. You nailed it. That's community, because I drive for that. Yeah.
That's it. You're the one, you're the gift in your adoption. It is precisely that. You know how to create the love and to grow the love because you weren't born into that necessarily, into that little nest. So now you've learned to make nests, which is beautiful. And they're such good friends. They're kind. They understand humanity, adoptees, sometimes in ways we don't.
Right.
But those are some of my best leaders, my most extrovert people. Until you go bang a little deeper and you'll see there's a little bit of fragility down there that every now and then knocks when they're not too sure where or how they belong.
Oh, totally. Yes, the cathartic trip that I took. I was a little bit of a gerbil wheel there.
I'm sure you needed to do that. It's discovering me, not as an adoptee or as a me. And you needed to do that. So you could come and say, this is my voice. Surprise, surprise, your voice is still predicated on your bio parents and your other parents. So you're what we call twice blessed. Oh. You have your bio ones and you have the other ones, and you get to kind of do a mix of those two. So it's not ever that you weren't wanted, it's that you were wanted twice.
Nice.
One may not have been able to hold on to, but you were wanted twice. I always say to people, once upon a time, two people looked at each other and there was a yes, and you were
Well,
born.
a passion baby
Or
for
a
sure.
passion baby. Yeah, and you know, sometimes heroes aren't always born with silver spoons or gold spoons in their mouths running around.
No.
They're born as passion babies, as Moses who came floating down the river, whatever it is. These are people who look at it and go, okay, so I'm not run of the mill. And you'll see too, one goes, I'll never belong and just can't. The other one goes, well, I must have a purpose then. And off they go. They get to that purpose and they drive for that purpose. And they're the very ones to show people, quit whining, start shining. I've done just fine.
Oh, totally. And audience, you know, with this conversation too, for those of you that this resonates, trust me, I've had my kitchen floor moments, you know, I mean, it's stepping in the rink and showing up and having the tools, providing the tools or this kind of platform doesn't mean I have my shiitake moments. I totally do, you know, and that's part of life. For me, I want you to lean into those emotions and those feelings and get them out of your body. That's a whole nother conversation. But
no, that's actually a really good conversation. So stop.
You want to keep going. I love the conversation. I didn't want to go.
No, this one's really good because I have somebody who calls it the itty bitty shitty parade with the stuff that goes on in your head, right?
The drunk monkey or the bad roommate.
That's it, the really bad roommate. Now, here's the deal. Most of us don't realize that what's going on in your head is probably not your language. Your feelings are not your feelings, and your actions are not your actions. They began in the mouths and bodies of your ancestors. They echoed all the way down to you, waiting for you to do something different with them. So when those little monkeys get into your brain and start having a conversation, it may be helpful to say, listen, Auntie Carol or Uncle Harry, yes, I know you're there and I see you, because often it's the ones who were excluded or the ones who carry a significant event that creep inside. So when you're having those ugly moments, they're really not your ugly moments. You're just showcasing them for whoever hasn't been represented or remembered back into the tribe. So that's what's happening. You're just about to think about it. You're just about to do something amazing. And the voice goes, oh, you can't do that. You're too stupid. You're not qualified, you know. You don't have 6 degrees. When that happens, what you want to do is go and say, okay, so who didn't feel qualified? Who didn't have 6 degrees? Because that's not my reality, but someone in my system is telling me that that was theirs.
I think right there, Judy, when you say that, and also audience, hear what she's saying. She's giving you tools, but first you have to have that heightened awareness that this is going on.
Absolutely.
Instead of shutting down, instead of denial, instead of, that's fine, you know, the whole denial
or instead of saying I'm terrible.
Oh,
no, you're not.
No. You're not. No, you're not. Everything that you are going through is a learning opportunity. And
a treasure opportunity.
Oh, so much so. And Judy, I got to tell you, I coined this a few years ago. It's probably a download when I was on the radio. And I said, it's like having the CCs in life. Compassionate curiosity.
Exactly.
Get curious and have so much compassion and love for yourself and the other person, because it takes that little sting out of what's happening.
It does. Right? And you know, even more than compassion, I'd like to shift it an inch. Yes. Instead of having compassion, have excitement and curiosity. Because the minute something starts to bubble for you that feels uncomfortable, it's literally the little portal to possibility that's going, wake up, I'm right here. Wake up, I'm right here. Have a look. This is where you're going next. So really turn on, not off, and lean in, don't tune out.
No. And audience, did you hear that when Judy was saying, don't tune out, lean in? That means lean into the fear, lean into the doubt, lean into whatever emotions are coming to the surface. And if you heard what Judy was saying, quite honestly, they're not yours. And language, Judy, that I use, it's my nervous system. It's my nervous system. It's an old pattern.
It's not just your nervous system. It's
all
the multi-generational nervous system. We have not just our system, we very beautifully channel the multi-generational nervous system too. I have generations of women who say to me, we're all depressed. No, great-grandma was depressed. Now everybody's loyal to great-grandma's little pattern of depression. And no, you don't have to all be depressed. I mean, if you want to be my guest, but usually
No, it doesn't have to.
by the time it gets to you, it's saying, will you please just turn me into joy for goodness sake?
Right.
So that's what it's looking for.
Did you hear that, audience? You have the choice. You do not have to stay stuck in the stuckness, whatever your adjective is, ever. So having that awareness and the bravery of looking and leaning into that and saying, oh my goodness, I don't have to be or show up that way. That's not me. It's not me. And breaking that pattern, right? Breaking the habituation, breaking the chemical releases, breaking the
Exactly. So that's first. Breaking it's great. But now what are you going to do with your adventure? Because it's sitting right there waiting for you. It's going, oh boy, her eyes are open. Grab her attention quick. Get her to see what her purpose is. Get her to see what she wants to invest in. And so the pattern that's trying to emerge is the one that calls your heart. It's the one that you go, oh, you know, I would love to travel 5,000 miles in an RV, but I guess that's not sensible. No, pay attention. Your adventure is over there. Or I would love to be really, really big in the world, but that's a bit. No, pay attention. It's calling you. That's your destiny. The other is not. A fate is something you've agreed to. A destiny is something you're shaping.
Ooh, Judaism. Say that again, please.
Absolutely. A fate is something you've agreed to, but a destiny is what you are shaping.
A destiny is what you're shaping. Ooh, I think we just figured out a name for my little Thor. Destiny.
There you go.
I love that.
There you go. Destiny is great. And when people say destiny awaits, it sounds so cheesy. No, it's waiting. I'm telling you, I always say, if these are angels, if we've got the pattern that's trying to rest, and that lives in the ancestors, and it forms wisdom, by the way. It's not ugly stuff. It forms great wisdom for you. It tells you, don't do. So we've got that piece.
It's the contrast, right? It's all good. It's all
That's
good.
it. It's all good. The one is igniting the other one. Each one needs the other. That your new pattern needs the old one for wisdom, and the old pattern needs the new one for a legacy. They're in service of each other all the time. But you were never meant to be small, and never meant to be small. In fact, every single client I work with, I ask them, how big are you willing to be? Because the day you agree to be big is the humblest day of your life. It is the first day that you truly agree to be responsible for growing an incredible life, and now you're in service of the universe.
Responsible and accountable, because this is
Absolutely.
life you are doing and being in, instead of it doing something to you,
Right.
I've had that conversation not only with myself, because my journey, my soul's journey, and where I've come from, the buck stops here, brothers and sisters. All of that genealogy, the buck is stopping here. I have got 3 beautiful grown daughters, and I'm like, I want this to stop here. I'm sure there's some residual stuff. I know that. I'm not putting my head in the sand. Oh, go ahead, love.
So I love that the buck stops here, but the buck also starts here. Your
The
3
new
beautiful,
buck.
your beautiful 3 grown daughters are watching you. Doesn't matter how big they are, they're still watching you, and their kids will also watch you. So yeah, it's what am I passing on? It's not just the physical DNA. That's the easy cop-out, but you've got nothing to do with.
That's just the DNA and the sperm and the ovary and the cells.
That's in fact, interesting piece. When I go down to, when I teach at Disney.
Oh, yes, we have to have that conversation too.
We'll talk. So when I teach at Disney, I give everybody a trading pin. And I pretty much sling the trading pin at them. And I go, here. And then I say to them, that's life. Now, You can walk around with that trading pin, or you can trade up. What you going to do?
Trade up.
Oh, and you should see what people come back with. I have to haul them back into class and say, it's class. It's not Pinterest, but because, yeah, and they really get life is that. You can sit there and say, well, this is the way God wanted. No, God's sitting there going, get off and do
World.
something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. What God is. So I call it Gus.
God,
universe, source,
whatever
spirit,
it is.
whatever
God,
it
the
is.
guides,
Yeah.
universe. Yep.
Love it. Source. So
Yes.
talk to me. While we planted a little seed about Disney, that's November 10th through the 13th. Will you talk to us about that?
Absolutely. So 10th through 13th is capability and resilience DNA. Where does yours come from? How does it travel down to you? Where do you struggle? Where are you stuck? Where are you limited? And where are you going to grow something completely different? Because one of the things that I began to notice was during the pandemic, people would say, we're beaten down, it's been rough, it's difficult. And I'd look at them and go, not so fast. You've learned this skill set, you can do this. You're now a teacher. So it's
Yes.
exactly that. It's how are you looking at it? And, because we've all grown up in maybe one major religion or another, in all of those religions, we're taught that suffering is glamorous, desired, and necessary to get somewhere. It's not, people. It's not. You don't have to
I have
do
no
that.
desire for that. It's grizzly bears or butterflies. Butterflies. I'll take butterflies.
Exactly. And the world is waiting for us to
Yes.
stop the suffering, one person at a time, to put the can-do back in and say, of course we can. Of course we can. I am doing it. I am figuring it out. So that's why I'm teaching capability and resilience. Because once you understand your figure it out gene, you could go all the way to where you want to. And we've all got it. You just have to activate it. So what we do is during the day from about 9 until 4, we work really hard. And this is doing what we call a constellation. So we dimensionalize an issue that you may have, which means I use live representatives to represent all the different parts of your issue so that instead of you thinking about it, you now see it, touch it, hear it, walk in it. You're actually exploring it in 3D using your language, and then we start to swap that around. And because we're using multiple senses, you have an embodied experience, which is that jolt that you call the aha moment. And people have them over and over again at Disney. They come in and they say, 4 days investment, never the same again. And then in the evening, we go into the parks and I say to them, this is what can be created when someone doesn't give up. Walt never gave up.
Walt
And
never
this
gave
is
up.
never, not even when he was lying in the hospital. He was still planning it on the ceiling with his brother Roy. And Roy never gave up. And they created something incredible. And there is nobody who cannot.
Nobody that cannot create the magic.
Absolutely. We are all potently capable of it.
Did you hear that, my lovely ones? Potently capable. All right, Judy, we are going to take a quick commercial break. It's about at the half hour. Benny, are you there, love? Sue Lundquist here. We are going to take a quick commercial break. We are going to still be live on YouTube. If you guys are listening to us on the radio in the Pacific Northwest or wherever you're at, it could be Spotify, iTunes, all that live. We're also going to be on YouTube. So we're going to go speak and chat and goof off for about 3 minutes while you guys in radio world have a commercial. So we'll be right back.
All clear.
Yay. Okay. So we're live on YouTube. This is absolutely luscious.
It is. I want to tell you, it is so nice to finally realize when you get there that you're in the middle of a genuine live adventure and it's yours to craft and you have your rules. Makes a big difference.
Huge difference. Huge. And I'm going to drip a little bit of the drama. And, you were talking about all these people coming to you with the conversation around COVID, and this is happening to me, and this, and getting wound up in the drama and the negativity of it, because that's their pattern and their biology, their nervous system, they're chemically releasing, that's keeping them addicted to it. And when I have that conversation, I don't come right out and say, well, your body's addicted, because they're like, what? I'm not addicted to anything.
I'm not an addict. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise. I know, right? So having the awareness, there it is again. I use, it's called ACT now. It's awareness, clarity, and transformation, because you have the awareness, the clarity comes in where the education, the teaching will appear. Then you learn the new education, and in the transformation, you're integrating that and choosing your language as you go through life. It's really important to have that awareness, because we go through life. We know this. I mean, I know this. Denial. No, I don't want to look at that. That's too much. I don't. No.
Exactly. And language is huge. Thoughts, feelings, actions, language. That's if you read the book, you will, or in the book, you will see I talk about language all the time.
I wish I had a copy. I would be showing. Do you have a copy handy, love?
I do. If you gave me 30 seconds, I would, but I don't in front of me.
We'll figure it out. We'll get it. We'll figure it out.
It's this book takes you on that journey all the way from the beginning, all the way through to your aha moment, so that you can experience that. And it shows you that life is an adventure. It shows you you're not stuck. You never were. And the nice thing is that you don't change it all at once. That's like trying to eat the whole elephant and getting horrible indigestion.
No.
It's one thought, one feeling, one action. That's it. And the other thing that I think that I love is that people don't realize we are, again, potent spell makers. When you tell yourself something that your body believes, it
right there. Your body believes. That's
and I have to bring you ladies back on too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, stand by.
Woo-hoo! Welcome back. We just had a juicy conversation at YouTube. So if you missed it, you can get a copy of the whole show. Just go to claritywithsue.com, sign up for the newsletter. Again, it's the little love bumps. I want to send you loves. I pull cards to set the intention for the day and the energy for the week, and take what resonates and leave the rest, quite honestly. And, I show up in love and respect and transparency. And that's why I do this, and being of service for all of you, and including myself, because I learn just as much. And that's what I love. I love the evolution and the learning, and it's new perspective, new thoughts, new ideas. It's you, just 2.0. Welcome back, Judy. Hi. Okay, we were having a really good conversation at YouTube. That was awesome.
It was great.
I don't know, how do we evolve? Where do we go from here? Because okay, we talked about Disney.
Okay,
Oh, go ahead, hon.
Yeah, August 5th through 7th, you were going to say, is at Dallas, and that's the emotional DNA. And emotional DNA is the one that teaches you where yours came from, how it lives in you, what it does to you, and then teaches you how to begin swapping it.
Okay, if somebody, because I advocate for the audience here, and they're going, what do you mean DNA? What?
Okay, emotional DNA.
Let's break that down.
Yeah. You don't just inherit your physical DNA, you inherit your pattern of thoughts, feelings, actions, inactions, reactions. That is your emotional DNA. And it's actually really well researched in the epigenetic field. They know that if you have an event, a really strong event or a significant event for you, it creates an impact or an imprint on the system that echoes down through the system. And they saw this with 9/11, with mothers who they looked at who were pregnant, who had PTSD markers. Now the children do. In the Great Dutch Hunger winter in Holland, they've now researched 4 generations of children who all show the same markers for eating disorders because of the event that happened then. So this is well known. But the other piece that's super exciting is that this is neuroscience at its finest.
Juicy.
Yes, you are consciously laying down neural pathways. Think about that. We lay down traumatic ones that quickly, and they hit us because why? As we were speaking about during the break, the minute you tell yourself something that your body believes, it becomes your truth. And unfortunately, I always say to people, you don't watch horror movies, but you tell yourself horror stories about yourself all day long and you believe them. Now, the flip is also possible. When you start to live in the emotions of gratitude, abundance, happiness, kindness, and you can teach yourself to do that. Yes, it's not too difficult.
You have to have it in place, my loves. Yeah.
Exactly. But when you start to do that and you start to look at things differently and your body believes it, you can now consciously lay down a new neural pathway. Now, in constellations, which was, remember, I was talking to you about the 3D process, that's what we do. People come in and they've got this issue that's fairly traumatic, and we have a look at it, and then we go, okay, so what happens if we flip it 180 degrees? And
what if we have like lots of traumatic issues? Can we just put it all in one big bucket and just...
That would be good, but unfortunately, no. And I'll tell you why. Because every single traumatic issue or stuck place is a juicy little piece saying, I have a gift for you. There is always a gift. And if you find the gift, you find the next door. So I say to people, and they say, yeah, but it's so difficult. And I go, okay, so do you play video games? Yeah. So when you get to a difficult level, do you quit when you don't get it right the first time? Well, no. Why not? Because then you can't get to the next level and play. And I go, yeah, that's life.
Yeah, that's right. Find the gift, find the next door. I love that.
That's it. You're playing a giant game of PlayStation or whatever you want to. This is what you're doing, only it's real, people, and you can have a lot of fun.
Yes, and you can make the choices. You can go left, right, jump, skip, hop, jump in a puddle, do all that fun
Exactly.
stuff.
And please, when you make the choice, don't make the choice on the crucifix, which is, I just know I'm going to make a terrible choice. No.
Oh, no, the Eeyore syndrome. No.
Yes. Make a choice and then make another choice and make another choice until it goes, this is good. And there's a very simple way to know if you're heading in the right direction. It's never that we have closed minds. It's that we have closed hearts. Yes. When we get a fright, our hearts close, which switches off the creative brain, and it makes our gut scrunch up. The minute that we open our hearts, the brain goes, oh my goodness, look at the possibilities. And the gut goes, oh, I'm happy. And when you've got those three in alignment, that's your window for transformation. That's when the magic happens.
Well, Jude, that's beautiful. Let's have that conversation, because people will be like, well, they'll have that contrast. I'm nervous or I'm scared.
Yeah.
So let's have that conversation, unpack that for them, because for me, nervousness and being scared, I'm still going to go forward, because it's just my past saying, it's my nervous system saying, that didn't work before. Guess what? I'm new now. It's 2.0. We're going to keep doing that so I can keep building on that self-confidence and that love and that trust, right?
Exactly. But what you've hit on as well is this. When we go, excuse me, and we pull back, what we're doing is we're loyal to the old way.
Yes.
The reason that we're loyal to the old way is we're scared that if we're not, we won't belong.
Yes. And people won't, and it's that old self. And I had that conversation with me years ago when I started, and I still have to remind myself, well, why is everybody leaving me? It's that conversation. Where did everybody go? And you know what?
If you've got everybody leaving you, I can tell you, somewhere in your system, the original one left. And the original one who left began a pattern. And if you look back, you'll see there's an event, possibly, now I don't know if it's men or if it's all people. If it's men, often you'll find there was a divorce or an ugly situation way back. And because of that, there's now a pattern of the women feeling left and men disappearing from the system. And it's as dangerous for the one as it is for the other.
What if it's both?
Now say more about that. For you, are you talking about mom and dad left? Or
yeah, well, that yes, and also in my patterns for me,
right,
it's been hard choices, really hard choices, and having to leave. We were talking about that passion of community. I'm going to go and
right,
create it
right.
because it's not there. I did that for 40 plus years in my community. And then all of a sudden, Gus decided to say, nope, you're packing up, you're leaving all of that, and you're moving to Bend. I'm like, okay, well, wait a minute, hang on, because there goes the patterns. Whoa, whoa, whoa! This scares the bejeebus out of me. But I did it anyways, and I had asked the powers that be, hey, you got to give me some signs, give me some attaboys and attagirls, because this is
Absolutely
huge. And I'm telling you, Judy, there were so many signs and affirmation, not even affirmations. It was real life practical signs that showed up that said, you are going to do this. You're going to do this. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. Here we go.
And that's what you've just spoken about as well, is saying to people, be aware. There are signs in your family system, but there are signs around you all the time. We've just been taught not to look at those because that's just whimsical or that's just silly. No, it's there. You're getting information all the time. If you'd open your eyes once in a while, you would see
eyes and heart, right? It's
eyes and heart. Very much. When your heart is, think about the day where you walk out and everything is right, and then take a look at what you're putting out there. Because when you're putting out everything is gorgeous, I'm happy, people can't help it. They look at you and they go, oh, and they respond. So again, when I do a constellation, people will say to me, how is it possible that I'm accurately representing his father or her mother? It's not possible. Of course it's possible. Think about the shooting that happened.
right.
The shooting, what happens if I say to you, oh, that shooting at Uvalde? Everybody goes, why? You're sensing into their system.
I send them blessings. I just had this conversation, Judy. I love this. Somebody had posted something in social media and said, I am so pissed off. My dad is turning over in his grave. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Why are we adding more of that anger into the situation? Let's send love and blessings to them. That's what I want. And guess what the residual was? I can't believe you're saying that. What, you put your hand in the sand because they're so honed in on that drama.
So think about this. Yes, they're honed in on the drama. What they're actually proving beautifully is that we sense into each other's systems. And we're greedy little piglets sometimes because those systems don't belong to us. They're not ours, but
we all day long.
We are eating them up.
I love it. But it's so true. You see that, and I just step away from it. It's not. I don't engage. I just step away and go. Okay. Well,
I think you're smart to do that. I will tell you. I had a class where I had somebody who kept on feeling everybody else's pain. And this is called an empath. I call it a messy empath. It's a very good skill to have, but you've got to really work with it well so that you're not doing that because it does nobody any good.
Boundaries, baby.
Yeah. And she kept on and kept on and kept on. And I kept explaining to her, this is not helpful to you. This is not healthy for you. And eventually I said to her, if you do that again, I'm ordering pizza. And she looked at me and she went, say what? Anyway, it wasn't about 5 minutes and she did it again. So I got on the phone and I ordered pizza. And she looked at me like I'd lost. I mean, the whole class is looking at me going, what? And the pizza comes in and I took a bite. And I said to her, here, you eat it. And she said, I'm not eating that. You've already had a bite out of it. But I said, but you're eating everybody else's pizza every day. So what's the problem? We should not eat other people's pizzas.
We should not eat other people's pizzas.
No.
Oh, I love this. And I know I've got friends they're laughing with us, but there's so much truth and reality. Stop eating everybody else's pizza.
For goodness sake, you've got enough of your own to eat. And I want to tell you, it's really good pizza. Stop trying everybody else's on for size.
Right. Oh, I love this metaphor for life. Okay. Let's talk about how people can get a hold of you. I know you're going to be in Dallas and then you're going to be at Disney. So Disney's November 10th through the 13th, Dallas, and that's the capability and possibilities. And then Dallas is regarding the DNA, and that's August 5th through the 7th.
That's right. Then also, if they wanted to, I will be teaching a 7-week course on the Shift Network. And
wonderful.
That starts July 5th and runs for 7 weeks. I think it's an hour every Tuesday. And it really gets to being able to explain exactly what this work is, how you use it practically every day in your life, how to change your life 180 degrees or more if you feel like it. How life is incredible. It really is. We don't realize it. But how to apply it practically. Because the whole premise of writing the book, Decoding Your Emotional Blueprint, was you don't need to. Transformation isn't for the chosen few. It's for those who choose it. Period.
Oh, that right there, huge, huge. It's for those who choose it. Now, that's big, brave work, right? You're stepping in the rink of accountability
and
it's fun.
Yes.
People get hung up on, and I know I say, and it's accountability and responsibility because I want to be winning in my life, being in my life, not having it happen to me, not that victimhood, not that. I want to play. I want to I really want to play.
Well,
so I'm going to play.
If somebody says to me, I'm doing my work, I'm like, no, you're not.
What do you
mean?
If
somebody comes to me and they look at me with a sad face and they go,
okay.
I'm doing no, you're not doing your work. When you're doing your work, you're going to feel a whole lot better, not a whole lot worse. You may go through a couple of dips here and there, but you're going to really enjoy this because you're going to understand that you're crafting something that is going to be incredible.
Don't eat other people's pizza, you guys.
Yeah, don't do it.
Get off the pizza train.
Of course. And here's the other piece that we fail to realize, and that's with inheriting all of this multi-generational stuff. 90% of people are living or reliving ancient history. They are not in the present, and they're not creating an incredible future. Now, think about this. Neuroscientifically, the minute you have one new thought, one new feeling, one new action, your inevitable and predictable future is no longer the same.
It's not
now it's become something completely different. You, the observer, have now observed a new pattern into being, and you've not only changed everything going forward, but also changed things going backwards. And people say, huh? How can you change things going backwards? Well, if you look at Uncle Harry, who was a terrible villain because he gambled all the money, all the family's money away, and you go back a generation and you look at his father who had nothing, and so Harry really tried, you begin to see it differently and the villain shifts. I think one of my favorites was
that perspective. It's
perspective.
That perspective changes everything else. It's a domino effect.
It does, and it really changes you deeply. People say it can't. A word doesn't change you. Really?
Cellular. It totally does.
Really? You try the word or the sentence, you have a terminal illness.
Ugh.
Yeah. Or you try another one that says you just hit the jackpot.
Okay.
One sentence, two sentences. They make a big difference. It's what we do with it. We are, and we don't realize this, we are master spell casters. And if we would realize it, we would be super careful about what we're casting on ourselves.
And our children.
Absolutely. I know if I'm starting to get down, I look in the mirror and I go, okay, self, what are we telling self right now? Because this is not working.
I love that. Ditto. I do too. I'm like, oh, you silly thing. Bye. Ting.
Exactly.
It's like those little sticky balls that, the little Nerf. I got to be careful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Radio world can't see me flicking these. YouTube world can. But it's those little sticky things that get in there. And you're like, no, that's not my reality.
Okay. So, and if you've got a sticky thing that sits in your brain, you want to ask it, okay, let's have a conversation. Clearly, you're trying to get my attention. What is it you need me to know? What is it you need me to change?
Audience, did you hear that? She just gave you some superpower tips.
Yep.
when your nervous system, when the drunk monkey, when the bad roommate's coming up, or even, this is really huge because these are tools for you to self-regulate, tools for you to stay in that awareness and ask your questions. Okay, get curious, get excited, and have the compassion, get playful in all of this and go, okay, well, wait a minute. What do I need? What am I not seeing? What am I not hearing? What do I need to learn? Judy's giving you great tips and tools. And I just wanted to put a pin in that so you guys heard that. Okay, please continue.
Yes, and also always, what more is possible here?
Oh, what more is possible here? What have I got to learn? What was the other one?
What have I got to learn? What do you want me to change? What
have I
more
got
is
to learn?
possible?
What do you want me to change? And
what more is possible here?
Love those. Oh, love them. Okay, big tips, guys. And how can we find your book? We've got about 10 more minutes or so, but I just want to remind everybody.
Okay, so to find my book,
I'm going to say, why did I not get a copy of your book?
I am going to say I have no idea, but if I were you, I would reach out to my people and tell them, hey, excuse me, I do not have a copy.
I do not have a copy.
Yeah, tell them. Tell them this is not okay.
Not okay. I'm supposed to have a picture of it so I can go, geez, look. Yeah.
Yes. So you would find it at Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and all of the other good bookstores. It is, it's Decoding Your Emotional Blueprint.
And we talked about what that looked like, understanding what that language is. Again, her book, Judy's book, is Decoding Your Emotional Blueprint, a powerful guide. Listen to the language, please. It's a guide. It's a teaching tool to transformation through disentangling multi-generational patterns. Look at those big words I'm saying.
I'm telling you, everybody gets to the end and goes, and I go, it's okay. All it means is I'm going to show you how to disentangle those patterns so that they can serve you well, and get rid of the voices in your head by putting them in front of you where they're helpful, not harmful.
Helpful, not harmful. We like that. We want butterflies, not grizzly bears.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Butterflies, not grizzly bears. Yes. And, having that contract or that conversation with the powers that be source, say, hey, let's just agree. Let's have fun and joy. And let's just do this with butterflies, no more grizzly bears. And with that, my accountability, my responsibility is to stay in that heightened awareness, to see the joy, to see the gifts, to see the gratitude, and be in that energy, in that space to receive the gifts.
Exactly.
It could be a song that just popped on. It could be a bird. It could be a squirrel. It could be just, there's so much out there that so many of us were so tangled up, and you help us.
We are. And we're tangled not only in our patterns, but in meta patterns. If you look at the moment with a country, we seem to have stumbled into the let's see how we can divide.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And with it, I moved here because I love the can-do spirit. Yes. I love it. When people say the American dream is over, it's not true. They need to go and live in other countries and then come back, and they will kiss Walmart's floor, because it is that the American dream is so alive and well. However, what it is saying this time around is, you want it? It's not just going to come floating into your lap. The exciting piece is now you're going to be accountable and responsible for what you do with me. And honestly, that gift, the legacy of the great American dream is there. We forgot briefly what an incredible country this is, just briefly. It's time to wake up and remember. And it doesn't matter if we're different. The differences are what teach us to go higher and climb further and enjoy differently. It doesn't matter.
Fly higher, think differently, new perspective, new thoughts, new ideas.
Absolutely.
Judy, I love this, because it seems like this past year and a half, and it keeps popping up. It's like this big, huge permission slip. Huge. And I get all tingly when I say it, because it's, you guys, you have the permission. You have, you don't have to do that.
No, you've got a blank slate. Exactly. You have a blank slate. If you want to make this country great, it is going to mean all of us. It is going to mean give and take. It is going to mean all of us, not some alls and not some other alls, all of us.
And coming together with the solution and love.
And guess what? We may not always have a perfect solution. I've just recently done a big offsite for a large company. And here's what we did. And I thought, wow, can we please put that out into the broader public? So what we did was we put them into groups, and I said to them, okay, I want you to have a look at these different perspectives, the different values and the different mission statements. And you're allowed to choose 3 per group. And we took those 3, or no, they had to craft them, that's right. 3 values, three mission statements. Put them up on the walls, and then they each got stickers. And we said to them, go around the room, and you can only choose 3. So they went around the room, and everybody chose their 3. And then we had a look at where the biggest clusters were. Now, before we went straight to the biggest clusters, we acknowledged all the other clusters and said, these may have to be included or acknowledged later.
Right.
But the biggest consensus and alignment is here. Even though yours may not have been voted top of the pops, can you align broadly behind this? And you know what? Everybody could. Everybody could. And we can. If we didn't know how to collaborate and cooperate, we couldn't drive cars. We'd be smacking into each other all day long. We know how to do this. We've just got to be practical. We've got to stop getting yanked around by rhetoric. And we've got to realize, guys, this is probably the finest country seriously in the world. And it's time that we gave it back its feathers.
Oh, love that. And your own feathers, my loves. You guys have
Absolutely.
the power. You do. And this whole hour has been having that conversation, investing in you, in us, me, Sue, and Judy, and having that conversation. So you do know that there are tools out there that you can get and obtain and apply to your life. Judy's given us so much juicy information today. And if you are just tuning in, well, poo-poo on you. Go back and look at the video. I would recommend going on YouTube and watching the video as well, because we talked about some really yummy stuff during the commercial break on radio. For those of you tuning in and you want to get a copy of this show, please go to claritywithsue.com. Sign up for the newsletter. We'll give you all the information, the show notes, and all that kind of good stuff. I will also make sure that we have the November 10th and 13th, the Disney event, and also the Dallas regarding the DNA, and that's the August 5th through the 7th, to remind all of you. Judy, we've got about a minute and a half. Would love to know what you're thankful for.
Every day, so much. Living here, truly living here, having the parents and having the parents I have, having an incredible adoptive daughter and fabulous nieces, a son who's off somewhere, a sister who's off somewhere. Just thankful for my life adventure and thankful for what's yet to come, because the best is yet to come.
Excited and thankful. I love it. Sweetheart, this is...
Oh, and my brother.
And your brother. The whole batch of them. We'll just say the whole batch. This has been an absolute delight. I am really thankful that you have stepped in the rink and you're shining by your example and you're teaching and educating. And teaching and educating to me is so important. It's not about the coach. That's not what I'm saying. To me, it's the education and it's the teacher and showing up and walking the talk. That's really important. And it's obvious you do that. And I honor that. And I thank you for that. So thank you very much.
And thank you. Thank you for the loveliest conversation. This was such fun.
It has been. It has been. It's just been a wonderful conversation. All right, you guys. The hour's up. I love you all dearly. Thank you for those of you that need to join us later. Spotify, iTunes, give us a 5-star review, because I want a 5-star review, because that's the good love. That's the love bumps. And if you want to get the love bumps, the newsletter, please go to claritywithsue.com and sign up for the newsletter. We will see you next week. And until then, each of you are a gift.